especially. We're going to use that today to kind of do a little squishing with. But then a couple of blocks and a pillow or a bolster. The usual. Good morning, good morning. All right, so let's go ahead and take a good seat. And so as we focus on this idea of twisting and crossing midline, we get to really notice for ourselves the effects that it has. So think of the sensations that are present for you. This is that tuning into our body, not necessarily to be able to pinpoint with words, oh, this is happening for me, but to notice specifically the sensations that are present for you. So as you find your good seat, shift your sitting bones. And maybe you'll notice as you start to sit that you need to sit another way to make it comfortable, right? So our yoga poses, ultimately we're working toward this place of ease. So if you have any tension in your knees, in your low back, in your hips, then feel free to prop yourself or sit a different way. But then let your hands rest down, and with your eyes closed, begin to take a full deep inhale and exhale in and out of your nose. Your breath is the vehicle for your prana, or your life force energy. And as the pulsations happen naturally, you also have this natural compression and expansion that happen with your breath. So for a moment, as you breathe here, notice what that expansion and compression and contraction look like or feel like. Tune into the specific sensations in your body as you take your next couple of breaths. And now as you take your hands together at heart center, gently press your palms together, lift your heart up high. Take a deep inhale here. And exhale, bow toward your heart, honoring yourself for taking the time to be present. Then softly opening your eyes, release your hands down and gently draw your shoulders up and back and begin to take that motion ear to shoulder that we all know and love, right? We start to check in with our neck, our shoulders, anything showing up in that place of tension for a lot of us. As your head comes over to the right side now, keep it there. You're welcome to hold on to the side of your head here if you want to with your right hand, but purposely move your left shoulder blade onto your back, letting that left side of your chest open up just a little bit more, and then start to tilt up and down with your chin. Then inhale back up to center and exhale, taking left ear to left shoulder. You're welcome to hold on to the side of your head if you would like to. Move your right shoulder blade onto your back, again noticing that expansion through the front of your chest. And then tuck your chin up and down. Inhale back up to center, and now we'll open and close through our chest a little bit with some movement. Elbows here, lift as you bring your fingertips together. Take a big exhale and push with your fingertips. Draw your low ribs in, expanding into your upper back into a cat-like pose. Your chin tucks down. Inhale, turn your palms, turn your elbows, expand and open, gratitude. Exhale, fingertips connect. Inhale, open up. and exhale. 3 more this way. Full inhale, long, deep exhale. As you take your next couple, just notice whatever sensations are showing up for you without any judgment. Just notice. Now this time, stay in gratitude. Elbows are hugging by your sides. Your palms are up. Think of rotating your elbows or your thumbs even more toward the back of the room here. And then add that movement through your shoulder blades. That connection of where your rhomboids are, where your traps are. You're starting to get into that space underneath your shoulder blades. Now, keeping shoulder blades on your back, tuck your chin down and shake your head no toward the ground. Then lift your chin up, keep your shoulder blades on your back, and take some half circles here with your chin. From one shoulder all the way up and around to the other shoulder. Then back in the center, go ahead and switch the cross of your legs, coming to that less comfortable cross for yourself. Shift your sitting bones. And now hands come in front to clasp, pull forward with your arms and round back through your spine, your chin tucks in. And then add that movement here through your shoulders, getting more into your lats, a little lower into your back. Maybe add a little bit more turn to your head here. Then the opposite direction, sit tall, bring your hands behind to clasp or fists come to your low back, whichever feels the best to you. Lift your shoulders up and back, start to hug your elbows back. Remember, keeping a bend to your elbow joints. Palms are pressing, take a big inhale and lift your chest up high. Think of your low ribs lifting up, but then engage them. Take an exhale, low ribs in. Inhale, chest lifts. And exhale, release your arms. Now take your hands out to your knees and we'll begin to twist a little bit. As you exhale, draw your right shoulder forward, your left shoulder back. Inhale, sit a little bit taller, and then exhale, low ribs in. To help you twist just a little bit more. Inhale, back into center. And exhale, twist to the right side. Inhale, sit taller. Exhale, low ribs in. Inhale, back to center. We're going to do it one more time on each side, taking it at your own pace, but adding that extra breath as you hold. One more on the right side. Full inhale, long, deep exhale. Inhale, back into center. Hands at your knees, press your spine back into your cat-like pose, chin tucks in. Inhale, open up, shoulder blades engage, slightly lift your chin, and exhale one more time, press back. Inhale, sit tall, and now shift forward onto your hands and your knees. And from your hands and knees, set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And now swaying your hips a little bit side to side, starting to check out the outside edges of your legs. And your hips might come all the way down to the ground, or they might stay a little bit higher. You get to discover what that is for you. Maybe that movement all the way to the ground is a bit much today. Good. So now come back up to center here. And you're going to lift your right leg behind you, pressing through your heel. Turn open with your hips. You're turning your toes toward the right side. Pull your low belly in. Take a deep breath and push with your hands, strengthening through your shoulders. Now hips come back in the center. Bend your right knee and cross your right leg behind your left. I'll turn sideways so that you can see that. So as you cross your leg behind, you have your knees right up into each other, And then work your hips back towards your heels, coming into this cross-legged version of child's pose. This is the start of doing some of that compression of our lymph. Take a deep breath here. You might walk your hands over to the right side to get a little longer stretch through your left side body. Deep, full inhale. Long, deep exhale. Then inhale, come back into center and release that compression as you come back up to your hands and your knees. And now, same thing, reach back with your left leg, turn open with your hip for a moment, pressing through your heel, belly tones, press through your hands. Then back into center, bend your knee and cross left leg over your right, and then work hips back towards your heels. Again, you might walk your hands a little further forward. You might walk them over to the left side here to get a little longer stretch through your right side body. Take a deep breath. And then walk your hands back into center, rising back up to your hands and your knees. Reset yourself, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Rotate elbow pits forward and push. Tuck your toes under and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. And take a couple of deep breaths to bend into one knee at a time. Then come back into center here with a little bend to your knees and start to sway your hips side to side, growing longer from hip to armpit. And now work your way forward, coming into a forward fold at the front of your mat. Take as many steps as you need. You can always have blocks here for your hands if you would like. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Send your sitting bones up, extend your heart. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, hands above your knees, extend your heart, and then walk your way up your legs, coming all the way up to stand. From here, set your feet inner hip bone distance apart, as opposed to outer hips, and parallel from second toe back to the middle of your ankle. Make those two lines parallel. Lift and spread your toes, and then root them down. Now inhale, reach your arms up to the sides, reaching through your fingertips, plug in with your shoulder blades. So now wrap left elbow over your right to come into a hug, reaching for the shoulders, or you can come back to back with your hands, or you can even take a hold of palms here if that's in your practice. From this place, wherever you are, lift your elbows up to shoulder height and draw shoulder blades onto your back. So this is that second place where we get to do a little bit of compression of lymph. Take a full deep inhale, lift up and open with your elbows. Full deep exhale, tone your low belly and your low ribs. Inhale, lift up with your elbows and your chest. And exhale, release your arms, turn your palms open, expanding through your heart. Eyes closed, deep breath. Good, inhale, arms reach. And exhale this time, right elbow over your left. Again, either take your palms, come back to back, or take your shoulders. Any of those variations of crossing gives you some compression. Lift your elbows up and draw shoulder blades onto your back. Now take a big inhale and lift your chest, lift your heart, tone your low belly and your low ribs. Inhale, lift up again, and exhale, release your arms, turn your palms, take a deep breath. Inhale, stretch up overhead, and exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen part way. And exhale, fold. Plant your fingertips. You're stepping right foot back into your lunge. Take a moment here to set yourself up so you have a stacked front shin straight up and down, and then bring your hands up to your hips to rise. Center off your hips and settle as deeply as your body is ready for. Take your hands to press, and then lift your ribs, your sides, your chest. And now exhale, draw your low belly, your low ribs in. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, cross. left arm over your right to come to that eagle arm place. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, draw shoulder blades onto your back. Good, again, remember you can always be in that reaching for shoulders place or a hug. Inhale, release your arms and stretch all the way up. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. And from this place, we're working our front leg towards straight. As you shift your hands back, find that place where your wrists are stacked underneath your shoulders. So blocks are often helpful here, or something resembling blocks. So send your left hip back in space. Push your left big toe mound down. Now bend your back knee and send your sitting bones up. Take a deep breath. Good, inhale, bend into your front knee, plant your hands, and step all the way back to hands and knees or downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. Inhale, come forward into a plank pose. Use knees on the ground if you would like. Rotate elbow pits forward and then extend your chest. Stay pushing, take a deep breath. One more full inhale. Long, deep exhale as you tone your belly. Then settle hips back toward your heels into a child's pose. Bring your knees together if that's comfortable. This allows for another compression here of your belly. Full deep inhale and exhale. Then inhale, rise up to your hands and knees. Rotate elbow pits. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. From here, take a deep inhale and push, hands into the ground. Full exhale, tone your low belly and your low ribs. Next inhale, walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen partway. Exhale, fold over your legs. Plant your fingertips, and again, you can always use blocks here. You now know where we're going, so maybe come up to the highest point. Step your left foot back into your lunge, and from that place, center off your hips. Think of wrapping your right hip back, bending into your front knee, and then bring yourself to lift, torso up. Good. Now, from here, tone your low belly and your low ribs. Lift your chest. Take an inhale, reach your arms out long. Exhale, right arm over your left to come to hugs, back to back, or wrap your hands. Inhale, lift your elbows up. Exhale, draw shoulder blades onto your back. Inhale, lift up even higher with your elbows, your chest. Exhale, tone your belly. Then releasing your arms, hands come down to your blocks, work your front leg towards straight. And as you find that straight place, shift your hands back so your wrists are under your shoulders. And the idea here behind coming up high is that we're not rounding through our back body, but we're getting really long through our spine. So now wrap your right hip back and push your right big toe down. Now a little bend to your back knee and send your sitting bones up. Try to tilt your pelvis, creating a little lumbar curve. Take a full breath. Good. Inhale, bend into your front knee, plant your hands, and step back. Downward facing dog pose. Full breath. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Use knees if you'd like. Rotate elbow pits forward and push. Extend your chest. Find your low belly staying really strong here. Then lower down all the way to your belly. Swimming all the way to your belly is a great way to find some compression. Walk your hands back right near your rib cage. Draw shoulder blades onto your back. Now as you root down with the tops of your feet and knees, find your low belly lifting, support your low back. And now we'll move with our breath 3 times. Inhale, lift your chest, keeping your shoulders lifted. Exhale, lower down. Your forehead can come to touch, but keep your shoulder blades on your back. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower back down. One more time. Inhale, rise up, and exhale, lower. Now push all the way back again. If comfortable, knees come toward each other to settle hips back. If it's not comfortable, then take your knees wide to give that space for your belly. And then find a little bit of shifting and moving here to lengthen. Inhale, rise to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under and exhale, downward facing dog. And just remember that if down dog is tough today, then you can always stay on hands and knees. Take a deep breath. Then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen partway. Exhale, fold over your legs. Hands to hips this time. Knees bent. Squeeze your glutes and inhale, rise. Okay, so now we'll take our eagle legs. You're welcome to bring a block to the outside of your left foot if you would like to. So this is a great compression of the inner thighs here. So feet inner hip distance apart in parallel. Lift and spread your toes and then root them down. And then bend your knees, start to sit your hips back, keep your chest lifted. Yeah, good. Now shift your weight over onto your left leg and cross your right thigh over the top of your left. From this place, start to squeeze with the muscles of your legs and think of rotating your right hip back. Now, if you would like to, you can squeeze a lot and pick your toes up, okay? If you don't want to, you can keep them touching down. That's always an option. Reach your arms. And from here, left arm over your right to come to eagle, hugs, or back to back, your choice. Take a lift of your elbows and maybe settle just a little bit lower into your hips. Keep squeezing into your legs for another full deep breath. Push into the floor. Inhale, rise up, release your arms, release your legs. And again, you can always have a block on the outside of your right leg if you would like. Lift and spread your toes as you bring your feet to inner hip distance apart. Hands up to your upper thighs, right up at your hip creases. And then as you start to sit your hips back, push your toes down and rotate your inner thighs in, back, and broad. Hip creases back. Lift your chest. Now shift your weight over onto your right leg. Cross at the thighs, crossing your left leg over the right. And again, you can touch your toes down, or you can squeeze a lot and pick your toes up. Your choice. You can test your balance there a little bit if you want to. Keep your chest lifted, reach your arms. Good. From here, you can take right elbow over your left and take eagle, or you can take hugs, right? So now as you lift your elbows up, draw shoulder blades onto your back, maybe settle just a little bit deeper into your hips. Take a full big breath. Good. Inhale, gently rise back up. Release arms, release legs. Give your legs a little shake. Hands together at your heart. Take an inhale and stretch up overhead. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen partway. Exhale and fold. Plant hands, step back, downward facing dog pose. Take a moment here to find a full breath. And now lower all the way down, knees to the ground, hips to heels. Take a child's pose, and you're welcome to switch it from that knees narrow variation to wide or vice versa. And then inch your fingertips a little further forward. Let your head come down for rest. Good. Now inhale, gently bring yourself up to your seat, and you can be on your knees here if that feels good, or you don't have to be. So we're going to find our blankets now and just get them ready for a little bit more compression of the thighs, but at the same time, a little bit of stretch through the calf muscles. So long roll here, and then roll up your blanket, or long fold, roll up your blanket, and set it at the front of your mat. And the idea is that once we step on it, if it's really intense to be stepping on it, then you can unroll it, okay? So now you're gonna come up to stand in any way that feels good. You can just simply stand up, or you can move through hands and knees or down dog. And then you're gonna walk your feet to step onto the blanket here. And then pause for a moment if you have a really thick roll and your nervous system is saying, whoa, what are you doing? Unroll it a little bit until your nervous system can calm and your breath can calm, your eyes can calm, your muscles can calm, okay? So find where that is for you. Hands at your hips. And now this is where it's gonna get a little bit more intense. So if you need or would like, you can have your block or blocks handy for you at the front of your mat. But we're gonna cross right leg behind the left, toes up on the blanket, heels on the ground, okay? So now we're swishing again through our lymph, but then also getting into the outside edges of our legs. So hands right to your upper thighs, and as you hinge at your hips, extend your heart, push into your upper thighs, and then maybe you walk your hands down to blocks. You might even come up to stacks of blocks here. Find where that is for you. And then take a really big breath and send your left hip back in space. Full deep inhale, long full exhale. Both heels try to press down evenly. Yeah. You know, when I'm in person in class and we do something like this, then when I look around and see intensity in the body, this is what you get to determine for yourself right now, is where do I need to back off? Do I need to come up higher? Do I need to unroll my blanket a little bit? Tune into what you need to do. Even give your knees a little bit of a bend because they like to lock when things are intense. Take another big breath. Inhale, extend your heart forward even as you move your left hip crease back in space. Good. And now, little micro bend to your knees. Walk your hands up your thighs and rise all the way up. And step onto the ground and say, whoa. Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Take a big breath. Good. Okay. So now, feet come back up to your blanket. Move the blocks so you can see. And again, front part of your foot on the blanket, heels on the ground. And now it's the left leg crossing behind. Whoa, that side's harder for me. So as you find it for yourself, again, remember, notice what's going on in your nervous system. If your nervous system is just cinching right up, then step off and maybe unroll the blanket, right? Hands come to your thighs, and as you push your thighs back, hinge at your hips, and start to fold. Work your hands down toward your blocks, maybe a stack. Come up as high as you need to extend through your heart. And send your right hip crease back in space. Big deep breath. Even as you keep an even press into both heels, see if you can allow your breath, your eyes, and anything in your upper body to be a little bit more released and relaxed. So think of not holding tight through your arms, but simply supporting yourself. Take a deep breath. Good. Now a little micro bend to your knees. Walk your hands up your legs and rise all the way back up. Good. And then step both feet down. And then just take a moment to notice how it feels. Maybe a little release and relief to stand, right? Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bend knees and fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen partway. And exhale, fold. And set your blanket toward the head of your mat if you want to use it for your neck. Let your hands and step back to a downward facing dog pose. Take a deep inhale. Lift your sitting bones. Exhale, lower knees down, hips to heels. One more child's pose. And inhale, gently bring yourself up to a seat. and come all the way down onto your sitting bones. And we're going to come to lay down, but I want you to make sure that you have props handy. We're going to take that eagle pose into a twist. So as you lay all the way down, it's often nice to have blocks or a pillow or bolster to put underneath your legs. Knees are lifted toward your chest. Cross your left leg over your right. And you can just cross your thighs, or you can wrap your toes around the backside of your calf, or your body might say, oh, heck no to that one. That's okay. So now you're going to take your legs over to the right side into the spinal twist. And I like to add a little prop underneath to help my left shoulder be down. So you get to find where that is for you, where your torso can be up toward the ceiling, even as your lower body twists. If you're opened up here with your torso and your left shoulder down, then maybe come to cactus or a T with your arms, or you can even take a hold of that top leg with your right hand if you want. I like to give a little push onto my thigh, so I'm creating distance from hip to armpit. Then inhale, legs back up to center. Uncross and cross right leg over your left. And again, you might take toes around your calf, or you might just sit crossed at your thighs. Your choice. And then take your legs over to the left side. So maybe rest on a prop here so that your left shoulder, or your right shoulder rather, can be down. Find where that is for you in your twist. And if your shoulder isn't coming down, then feel free to take your hand to your hip instead, or to support your low back. And take a full big breath, and maybe take your left hand to your thigh and give that push to create distance from hip to armpit. Then inhale back up to center and reset your feet on the ground. And then favorite way to work through the nervous system a little bit, walk your feet out wider than your mat, and then slowly drop your knees side to side. Gives that little bit of twisting action through your spine, which actually gives your nervous system a little reset. But at the same time, you might get a stretch through one thigh and then the other thigh. Or you might get a little stretch through that pocket muscle called the TFL. And now come back into center here, work your feet in, and then take your version of a resting pose, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe that's setting something underneath your legs or grabbing your blanket for underneath your neck. Find your Shavasana. And tune into letting your body settle for a few moments. And take a deeper breath. Gently add movement into fingers and toes. As you're ready to bend your knees, roll over to one side. And then begin to push yourself back up to your seat. Bring hands to connect at heart center with your eyes closed. And take just a moment for a full deep breath. Have a very peaceful, beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.